Welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to make sure that all of the research that we pull is within a certain amount of an area size, and kind of how to rule out the listings that don't fit the criteria as far as distance. And generally 1 mile is the maximum distance that we want to look from any comparable home that we pull for market research when compared with our subject property. So let's go ahead and let's look at an example that to demonstrate this. And for the example, we will start to where I am sending you an address, and for this I want you to do research on 112 Water's Edge Lane. So for this example, I want you to do research on 112 Water's Edge Lane. And of course, after watching the research videos, we know that to pull the research, we want to look at a couple of items. First off is this, the total square footage. Also, it has a basement, so we know to go ahead and divide that by 2 and subtract half of that from this total number. And then with that number, I believe this one is 2100 and something, 2160. So with that, you would go plus or minus 200 square feet of whatever that number is. So for this one, I'm not doing the math here, but let's just say it's 2100 after you subtracted half of the basement square footage that's finished. So at 2100, you want to go plus or minus 200 square footage of that. So you would do 1900 to 2300 square feet. We want to do the Walton Ferry Elementary School District, and we want to make sure that it is in Hendersonville in area 9. So let's go ahead and pull that up as if we were doing the research on it. And let's say that we were going by elementary school district, which again we said was Walton Ferry. And again, where that is located on the spec sheet of your primary, your past listing spec sheet, here is the elementary school district. So then I would just enter Walton for the elementary school district. I would also make sure to click area 9, which was the area that this one was located in, and you can see that right here at the top, area 9. You can also see the city, county, subdivision, and address. All of this will be on the same part of every single listing spec sheet that you look at. You'll also see the last listing price that it's been at, the MLS number that the last listing was, and the status that it's at. Is it active, pending, expired, closed, or withdrawn? And so let's do Walton Elementary School District, active, pending, and closed. And it's now April, so we want to go 6 months back. Was that November? We'll just say November 1st. 11/1/13. Square footage again we said was what, 1900 to 2300, because the property we are going to say is at 2100, so we want to go plus or minus 200 square feet. Active, pending, and closed since 6 months back. And Walton, for Walton Ferry Elementary District, county selected. So let's go ahead and click search. And for this example, the main thing that I want to show is how to rule properties out because they're just too far from our subject property. So at research, the way that we look at it is if I was a buyer looking for a house to live in, I'm at least going to look within a certain area. And with this, we're going to say it's a mile area. And the reason being because if you go outside of that mile area, you could run into rougher areas, more congested. The prices aren't as good. The prices are better, if it's closer to a golf course or something, or a park. It could be at a larger value, and a mile is just a good safe radius to use to say if I'm going to purchase a home in an area, it's at least going to be within that mile radius of that property. And of course, we know buyers can look outside of that. But for the sake of research, we only go a mile radius. So how do we know if each of these properties are all within a mile radius of our subject property? Here's what I would do when I'm doing a search such as this. First thing I would do is go to google.com, and we're going to go to the maps, and let's go ahead and do that. And Google Maps. However you get to Google Maps, you just fill it out on your system if you don't already know. Find the Google Maps, and then from there we are going to enter the subject property. I think I just entered 2, yeah. 112 and standard Google stuff popping up. Let me get that off of there. Waters Edge and Hendersonville. So you want to make sure you're looking at the right one. We can see this one's Hendersonville. Click search. The thing that we want to do is find out where exactly is our property located at, so then we can make sure on the map that we're selecting homes that are around that particular property. So you can see here that, usually I'll zoom out just a little bit just so I can see the general idea of where this is at, because I know that the properties that I'm pulling from the search based off of the information that I used from this property's spec sheet, I know they're going to be close to it, but some may fall outside of that mile radius, and then if they fall outside of the mile radius, we just take them out. So here's how you do this. You just saw that I selected all. Let's say that, if you want to narrow down from the very start without even dissecting the numbers on it, you just want to make sure the first thing is that they are at least within a mile radius of your property. I would click to select all, and then on the Functions tab, I would go to Map Listings. So this is when you would use the Map Listings function. And what it's going to do is map every single property that we just had selected. So you can see where all of these properties are located at, right? And you can also see that this distance equals 1 mile. So we know that it's, if it's outside of that, generally I would say this would be good. That would be too far out. But let's look at our map and see where we're located at. So we're going to have to zoom out. We are all the way at the tip. Yeah. So since we are at the tip, here is where our subject property is at. We know all of these are good research. These can be questionable because they could be in other subdivisions. We see that they are close to the mile gap, but they're still really close, so they could be considered within the mile radius. This could be way off. This one could as well. So let's say that we want to take these out. Here's how we do this. And you want to make sure that you do it this way. If you click back to list, you're just going to go back to that previous list that you had. But to narrow these down, what I would do is go ahead and select all by selecting the box in the blue column, just to go ahead and select all of these, make sure that every single one of these are selected, and then I would find what numbers are the ones I want to take out, which is 9 and 12. Sometimes there's pages of these, and then you just have to scroll to each page and get the right numbers. So 9 and 12 I want to take out. Let's go ahead, and after you do that, you don't want to go to list. You want to make sure that you narrow that search first. By narrowing it, it takes the ones that are deselected out, and voila, you can see that we just have the ones that are within our mile radius. You can see that's 0.7 miles, so about a mile radius is what we have now. So here's what you do. You don't go back to list this way. You want to go back to list this way because you want to use this and not include those others that are on the original list. So let's do that now. We should have 10 listings at this point because we taken 2 out. So there we go. So then at this point, you could use that as the start of your research. I hope that helps you on the narrowing and how to go ahead and make sure you're in the right distance parameters. That's really the way that we do that. So just to reiterate, I go to Google Maps, punch in the subject property address. I see where is that located on the map. And then from there, I do the research. I'll have all of my properties pulled up. and then I just select all. Whatever properties I want to display on the map, go to select function, map the listings, and then we simply see where is it again that we're located. Okay, we're located at the tip, and here's at the tip over here again. And what's the name? Water's Edge. So let's see, we can zoom in and we can find out exactly Water's Edge. So we're right over here, and within a mile radius we would use our little key that says a mile. So that's about a mile distance. So we're right in outside of the parameters, but really close. So that counts, and we can use that as research. So we're going to add this to the tutorial. If you have any other questions, please let me know, and then I'll try to help answer them.